the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. CARES announcement under MGL Chapter 38, Section 20F, meeting being recorded. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 attendance restraints, this meeting of the Westport Community Preservation Committee is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted. However, every effort will be made to ensure the public can adequately access the proceedings. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to or view this meeting while in progress may do so by following the remote links. Whoops, you just lost me. Okay, the remote links listed.
Were you reading what I had up there?
An audio recorded of this meeting will be posted on the town's website as soon as we are able. Excuse me, Tim?
There we go. I'm sorry.
Did you say something, Tim?
I thought when I moved the screen that you were reading off the screen. I thought I'd messed you up.
Well, I was. But I've memorized it by now. I'd like to open the public hearing. We have advertised this public hearing, and it's to gather input of the needs, possibilities, and resources of the town regarding Community Preservation Act funding for FY25. And the public has been invited to the hearing with ideas. Well, there's nobody from the public here, but we also can give ideas ourselves, things that we have heard or have talked with people about. And I do have a couple, but before I do that, has anyone else been thinking about other projects or been approached about other projects for this coming year?
Yes.
Tim?
Just sort of long-range planning, but I'm not sure how this is going to play out. But recreation is really finally forming up the major plan for the playground replacement project. We have $350,000 from the Community Preservation Fund, and we're awaiting word on a grant that we're hoping to get, which will make it possible, I hope, to at least do one of the playgrounds. But we're thinking in long range, and that we may try to go after the Bicentennial Park playground for next year, in which case, depending on how these other fundraising efforts go, we may come back to community preservation for another dose. Right now we're splitting the 350 between the two playgrounds and hoping to fill the gap with what we can get through grant and fundraising for the annex, and leaving the other 175 or whatever it is in the bicentennial budget, and hoping we don't have to use that for the annex. And we shall see how that goes. But anyways, there's a possibility we may try to put together a project application for this next year.
How much?
It would probably be a similar ask.
Wow.
I don't know. It may not be as much. We don't know. We don't have as much information as we'd like to have right now.
Okay. Anyone else?
Betty?
Mark?
Yeah, thank you. Well, as you know, I'm the liaison with the Bell School project, and I thought someone might be present this evening. I did tell them that this meeting was coming up, and I told them it was an opportunity for them to speak. What I can tell you about it is that last spring they went out to bid early summer, and of course the bidding climate was as difficult as ever. So they had difficulty getting bidders, but they finally did succeed in getting a bid, which surprise was quite a bit more than they were expecting. So they've recently been working with the contractor that they've decided to move forward with to find ways to bring the costs down. But at the same time, they also they have raised this, as you know, to go back a little bit here, we awarded them $350,000. They haven't spent any of that yet because they haven't started the project. But they are short, and no matter what they come up with cuts, they are short, and they've done fundraising on their own, and they've done quite well, but they're still short. So I informed them that if they had any thoughts about applying for more additional funding, now is the opportunity. But seeing that there is no attendance here, I guess for now they're going to go ahead and not ask for anything more.
John?
Betty, about a month ago, I went to the Council on Aging to find out how they were making out with painting up the trim on the bell tower. And she had mentioned that she may be coming before us. They're looking to have all the trim painted all around the building. And with that, they would also get the trim on the bell tower finished. But that wasn't 100% sure that that's what she was planning, but she did mention it.
Yeah, she sent me a list of things, but she thought that we could just pay for them without going to town meeting. She misunderstood it then. So I think that then she talked with you and got it correct. But that's Council on Aging. Anyone else? Okay, I have talked with Jim Hartnett. Of course, the money that they got doesn't even begin to meet the needs. It's going to cost them almost double what they asked for, but they're not going to come back this year. They're going to work with what they have and then see about the following year.
Is this the town hall you're talking about?
The town hall project. This has been a problem, of course, that with prices going up so much, that it's hard to guess or what it's going to be a year out, even if you talk to professionals, because they get it wrong too. So that is not going to change. I have not heard anything back from Tony Vieira for the Sanford School. He started talking to us and then was going to talk with Tim, and I haven't heard anything since, so I don't know what their situation is. But I haven't heard a word from them. I spoke with the Grange, as the people at the Grange. Barbara Smith basically runs the Grange these days. They have this really wonderful exhibit, and they have a few artifacts that really would be nice to try to preserve them, because they aren't sitting in the proper place. They are not in archival frames, etc. And so I suggested to them that they think about asking for some funds to make sure that they preserve those artifacts. So they are thinking about that. I actually attended an Affordable Housing Trust meeting, and we talked for quite a long time. I talked for quite a long time with them and asked them if they would please come to this meeting, and that they would they assign a liaison from the Affordable Housing Trust to the CPC, because we don't know what they're doing. It's hard to tell, because they're independent. They're quite independent, except financially. I mean, they can make their decisions without asking us to look at anything. And what we've been doing is, giving them a couple of $100,000 and putting it into an account, and they have about $400,000 in an account to buy land. So I asked them, what were they thinking about? And especially to talk to us about what they had suggested for the old school. Had they followed up on that? Had they talked with community builders and so forth? And they said they would. They said they would come, and they aren't here. So I'm really disappointed in that. I thought that this year, given that we're trying, maybe next year will be better, but I don't think they're coming in for any funding this year at the rate they're going. Or something may have happened. They didn't come tonight, but they didn't let me know.
We haven't had any recent reports from them on what they've been doing over the last year or so.
Well, that's what I asked, to come in and we could maybe work together. I suggested some places that they could look. There's a development going on that's going to allow access to land that's on Drift Road, where they scrape the top, what's it called? On Drift Road, where they get the rock and the gravel pit kind of there. That area now will have, and the man who's developing the property next to it has guaranteed to the town there would be access to that. But then when I mentioned that, they said, well, for affordable housing to get grants and subsidies, it has to be near restaurants and grocery stores and all of that. So I don't know if that would count. So I've been trying to look around for land for them because they don't seem to be doing it. So those are the two main ones that I've been asking about. And the third is, I talked with Ross Moran, and it's likely that they will want to come in. They're looking at a property, a farm, and they may want to come in if it goes through.
Is that going to be the Pierce Berry Farm, or is
The what?
they've already done that one, haven't they? The Blueberry Farm.
Yeah.
That's done, yeah. In fact, there's an article about it, which they don't even mention CPC in the shorelines today. So we can consider, I mean, the fact that people didn't come in tonight doesn't mean they can't come in, Mark. You know that, Mark and John, they can come in later. But I think there will be demand for funds this year. It's just that people are coming in late.
Well, Betty, I think in the case of the Bell School, I think they wanted time to meet with the contractor to see where they could sort of end up on prices and what they could perhaps live without for the short term or the longer term even, before they really before they know how much they will really need to start the project. So I'm just guessing, but I'll get in touch with Yvonne Barr again.
Yeah. Okay. Does anybody else have anything to say? Okay. Then I will close the public hearing. Do we have to vote to close the public hearing?
You
Hmm.
could. You could
Pardon me?
just to make sure. You could just to make
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I don't remember what happened last time.
I don't remember the voting, but we'll do it. May I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
That's John, second by Tim. Okay. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please, by roll call. John,
John Bell, aye.
Mark,
Mark Schmidt, aye.
Phil,
Bill Weinberg, aye.
Tim,
Tim Gillespie, aye.
Betty, aye. That's unanimous.
You have Garrett.
Garrett,
sitting there.
now I realize Garrett's on the wrong side. Garrett,
Garrett Stuck, aye.
that makes it unanimous. Thank you. So we're coming to the regular meeting. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of April 13th, 2023. May I have a motion?
I'd move that the minutes of April 13th be accepted as written.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
That's Tim Gillespie and Garrett. Is there any discussion? Any amendments? Okay. John,
I'm going to abstain, Betty. I wasn't there.
Mark,
Aye. Mark Schmidt, aye.
Mark Schmidt, aye. Phil,
Phil Weinberg, aye.
Tim,
Tim Gillespie, aye.
Garrett,
Garrett Stuck, aye.
Betty Slade, aye. That's
Uh,
unanimous. Thank you.
Betty, I'm sorry. I was not present either. I thought I, and I
Okay.
realize now that looking at the notes, I was not
Okay,
there. So,
Maria,
Okay.
did you get that?
Yes.
Ah, Lucy Chase joined. Okay, the second item on the agenda is approval of minutes of June 8th, 2023. May I have a motion?
I move to accept the minutes as is.
That's Garrett Stuck. Second, please. Anybody second it?
I
I'll
wasn't there,
second
so
it.
I don't think I should second it.
I wasn't there either, but I'll second it.
No, okay.
Who's seconding it? Tim.
yeah, I wasn't there.
John Bell will second it.
All right. All right. Okay, for vote? I think there's no discussion for voting. John?
I wasn't there, but I'll vote aye
Okay.
after reading it.
You can do that, you know. You don't have to have been here, but it's up to you. Mark?
Abstain.
Phil?
Phil Weinberg, aye.
Tim?
Tim Gillespie, aye, even though I wasn't there.
Garrett?
Garrett Stuck, aye.
Betty Slade, aye. That is unanimous. The third item is Veronica Bolo could not come tonight, so we'll welcome her next time. Would you mind if I went out of order and asked if Lucy Chase, by any chance, was coming in for the public hearing? Lucy?
Her microphone is off.
Lucy, you're mute. Maybe it was a butt call.
Oh,
Lucy? Okay. Okay, let's, okay, so the fourth item is nomination and election of officers, chair and vice chair. Do I have a nomination?
I would like to nominate Betty Slade as chair and John Bell as vice chair.
Phil Weinberg will second.
Are there any other nominations? Okay. Any discussion? Okay, John?
John
John,
Bell, aye. John Bell, aye.
Mark? Mark? You're muted.
Mark Schmidt, aye.
Phil?
Phil Weinberg, aye.
Tim?
Tim Gillespie, aye.
Garrett?
Garrett Stuck, aye.
Betty? Yes, that's unanimous. I'd like to thank Tim for all the years of being vice chair. And I'm looking forward to the years that John Bell is vice chair and chair.
Here, here. Thank you, Tim.
We're
I say
moving
thank
in
you-
that
I say
direction,
thank you now,
John.
I might not
Pardon
mean
me?
it in a little while.
Pardon me?
I say thank you now, but I might not mean it in a little while.
So John, as you all know, has been working very closely with me and learning, and will soon be ready to be chair if that's desired by the committee. Okay, let's see. Number 5, Tim, could you put this up? The appointment of liaisons for May 2023 town meeting approved projects. I don't know if all of you have seen this table before or a table like it. I don't know. Garrett,
Yeah.
Mark, have you all seen it?
Yeah, I saw it.
Anyway,
First time I've seen it.
okay. So through the years, they of course they change, but we try to have a project manager, which is the project decides on that, and then a CPC liaison. And as you can see, some of them go way back, like to FY15, because that's been done by dribs and drabs as time allowed them to do that project, because it's a lot of volunteer labor there. The amount remaining may not be exact. I do not have the, I did not get the latest information from the town accountant. She's been busy. But this is something you might want to look at, and you can see whether you are a liaison or not. The big issue is the Affordable Housing Trust. Since Liz has resigned and Veronica is coming on, she's the representative of the Housing Authority. I think it must be, it's be clear that for some strange reason, the legislature wanted a person who represented the Housing Authority to be on CPC, but we really never have anything projects with the Housing Authority, because they usually are just fixing up things. And years ago, as Tim knows, and the rest of you, I don't think we're here, we actually allocated funds to doing repairs to Greenwood Terrace, and we were told that that was not allowed. So we were unable to do that. So now I'm looking for someone to be a liaison. Veronica has said she will not be. She says she is not, she just doesn't have enough experience on CPC to do that. So I'm looking for someone else. And I see Tim has his hand up. Yes, you can be the liaison.
Not what I was telling
Okay,
you.
Tim, go ahead, Tim.
I mean, the vote at town meeting specifically says a representative of the Affordable Housing Trust, I believe, right?
No, it's the
They don't?
Housing Authority.
Oh, it does say
Oh,
that in the
specifically Housing Authority.
Huh.
Yeah, and this is from this goes back to 2000, and the Affordable Housing Trust was only set up 10 years ago. So it has to, the member has to come from the authority. So Liz has been a member of the authority, had been for years. But I'd like for somebody to think about this. If you're interested in affordable housing. No. Well, when Veronica comes on, we'll have to just vote her in. Okay, and then I was going to get from Hugh Morton to find out how much was remaining, because I think they've done the dugouts and fencing, and he said he would give us a report tonight, but I think that he may have forgotten that there was a meeting. So on the town hall restoration, which is FY24 project going on now, I don't know who was working. I've been working with Jim, but he hasn't asked me to do anything, and I haven't done any liaison because he hasn't put anything out. I was wondering if anybody else would be interested in working with Jim Hartnett on that.
I've been working with Jim because he's been asking me things along the way, so I'm happy to step into that.
Excellent. Maria, you got that? And the Sanford School restoration. Oh, sorry, John.
Yeah, Betty, I was just going to talk about that. I know Tim's been helping out on that, but Tim's got quite a bit on his plate. If he doesn't mind, I would be the liaison to the town, to the Sanford School restoration with Tony Vieira.
That would be great.
So you'd be willing to be the liaison
Yeah, I'm a veteran, so maybe I can, I think I work well with them.
to the Sanford School? Excellent.
Yep.
Lovely. Excellent. Mark?
Yeah, Betty, I was going to make the same remark that I thought Tim had a lot on his plate, and I'm happy to have him do that, but the town hall, but I was also happy to do it if he'd rather not.
Well, it's not a big deal for me to do because Jim has been consulting with me when he's had questions about things, and I've helped him come up with some numbers. So whatever, it's not important to me. I am planning in the next few years to sort of drift away from town volunteering. But hopefully before that happens, the town hall will maybe be in pretty good shape.
I don't think so, but I think so. I can step in when you get tired of it, Tim.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
Well, thank you very much, guys, and we'll see what happens with the Affordable Housing Trust. That's a tough one. It's a real tough one. If I could get a liaison from them to us, if we could, I'll try again on that. Before we go to the next item, Lucy is here. She's now able to speak. So Lucy, go ahead. Did you want to present or just?
I'm just interested. I'm just spectating. Just wanted to see what's cooking.
Oh, okay. Sorry you missed the first part. Hugh Morton just joined.
Well, I just remembered the meeting was on, sorry.
Hugh, well, you came just at the right time.
Okay.
So we're on the liaisons, and I was asking about the dugouts and the fencing. What's the status of that?
Yeah, I was going to share, I've been under the weather, but I don't know. They were doing well, but you remember they were looking for various other things at the same time.
How about the irrigation?
Same answer. I mean, I didn't
Okay,
get it done recently.
okay. I notice on here I don't have the irrigation. Do I?
It just says dugouts and fencing.
Yeah, there's the irrigation at FY24. Okay, I don't think they've withdrawn any funds for that yet. Okay. All right, so we're on item 6. All right, let me see how to, okay. All right, the town farm project is very small. Where is it? The town farm apartment, 36,000, Garrett. I don't know if you've heard anything from Michael, but I have been talking with, and I think including you, with Michael and Tony Millam, who's really running the project. And he thought he had to come in and present the proposal that they were going to send out. It's not an RFP. It's it's one of them is like 15,000, the other's 15,000. They're small amounts, so they don't have to go through anything but getting 3 bids. And I said normally that we look at the bids and choose one that is recommended by the project manager. But they don't have the response to the bids, and I said I would ask CPC if the project manager, if the liaison, the chair and the vice chair could make a decision on which bid would be accepted rather than waiting a month and coming back to CPC. So I'm asking for authority for Garrett, John, and I to accept the bid. Normally it's the lowest bid, but it doesn't have to be, as you know, rather than coming back to CPC. I'm wondering if there could be a motion to that effect, whether you approve it or disapprove it.
So move, Hugh Morton.
Second, Tim Gillespie.
Is there any discussion? Okay, we'll vote. John,
John Bell, aye.
Hugh,
Hugh Morton, aye.
Mark,
Mark Schmidt, aye.
Phil,
Phil Weinberg, aye.
Tim,
Tim Gillespie, aye.
Garrett,
Garrett Stock, aye.
Betty Slade, aye. That's unanimous. So we'll come back to you with the approved bids unless they're delayed.
Betty, this is,
Sorry?
this is Phil. So this is my first time being designated as a liaison for and this is on the Snell Creek. And just to say, I'm just going to follow up with you to find out, what the responsibilities or expectations are for that relative, to the CPC.
Okay. You're back at where I have, the Snell Creek SLCR, because we didn't discuss that okay. So that is being handled by Alan Decker from Buzzards Bay Coalition. It used to be, when we've been doing it with Ross Moran, it's been a lot simpler. But Alan is just coming to us with every step of it, Phil. And I think you're on that. Are you, somebody's sound is on. I think that you are on that list of recipients of emails, aren't you, Phil?
Emails from
From Alan Decker.
no, not directly. I'm not. I mean, Alan was just recently before the Conservation Commission, and then we actually just advanced $30,000 to the town from our account because the town needed that money for some part of the transaction.
Right. So.
And we don't have to go into the details here. Just let you know.
No. So the issue with the Snell Creek and why I want you to be part of this, as it is with all the other CRs, we cannot award the CPA funding until we have a registered CR, conservation restriction. Okay, we can't. You can do the 30,000. We can't do the 150,000. Okay, so I've been in touch with Alan Decker, and he said that he expects they won't be able to have the CR registered until early December. But he wants the money right then because they need to pay, they need to finalize. What we've done in the past is that at a meeting, for example, in the November meeting, we will approve payment. We will approve the drafting of a check to the coalition and hold it until we get the CR, the registered CR. Okay? So I would like, and I'd like you to hear this, Phil, I would like to just basically inform the CPC that in November, I will be asking for authority to have a check drafted, but only paid when we get the registered CR. Is that clear?
Yeah, that's clear to me.
Okay,
And-
Garrett,
Betty, I'm just wondering whether we couldn't have that vote now.
we could, if you want to do it and get it over with.
Well,
If you want to make a motion,
I move that we approve the drafting of that check and hold it until the conservation restriction is in place.
is registered at the Registry of Deeds. Is there a second?
I'll second it. Tim Gillespie.
Is there any discussion? Okay, John?
John Bell,
John,
aye.
Hugh,
Hugh Morton, aye.
Mark,
Mark Schmidt, aye.
Phil,
Phil Weinberg, aye.
Tim,
Tim Gillespie, aye.
Garrett,
Garrett Stuck, aye.
and Betty Slade, aye. Thank
So
you. That
this is Phil again. So should we invite Alan to come and present at the November meeting? I mean, is everybody familiar with what is involved with this?
No, it's just basically purchasing the CR for the Snell Creek. Yes, we've discussed it. It went to town meeting. It was approved. It's a procedure. It's up to you, Phil. If you wanted to ask him to come, we could do that.
Well, no, I'm just familiar with it, having heard and seen what the property is at Concom. If everyone's comfortable moving ahead without that, I'm fine with that.
Well, we saw it when he presented before town meeting.
Okay,
It was a project, it was approved at town meeting. So we went through this all last year. So we do
Fine.
know what it is, I think. You know, the one up the street where the horse farm, the whole issue of the horse farm. Does everybody not know that on Main Road, or do you want to have it presented again? Okay, so we won't present it again. All right, so 7, because we've had so many gaps of months between meetings, we've given authority to the chair and vice chair to pay bills, except for the CR, which is a large one. And I wanted you all to understand that. And I'm asking if you want to give the same approval to the chair, the new chair and vice chair, to approve bills and then bring them to town meeting. I'm bringing them to the CPC after they've been paid for approval again. Does anybody object or anybody want to make a motion? I need a motion.
We've been doing that for the last, for a while.
5
so
years.
I would make a motion on that.
I'll second this. Hugh Morton.
Okay, and John Bell made the motion. Is any discussion? Okay. John,
John Bell, aye.
Mark,
Mark Schmidt, aye.
Phil,
Phil Weinberg, aye.
Tim,
Tim Gillespie, aye.
Garrett,
Garrett Stuck, aye.
Betty Slade, aye. That's approved.
Hugh Morton, aye.
Okay, did I miss you, Hugh?
I think you did, by vote short.
So I need to put you back in here. All righty. Okay. Okay, so each year we are asked by the Community Preservation Coalition, who does a lot of work for us, especially with the legislature, to raise more money. They ask for annual dues, which pays for their the 2 employees and the work that they do, and the amount is $2,875. We have not approved that. We have not paid that. I waited to ask you if that's okay with you.
I would move we pay it.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay. That was Tim who
Yes.
moved it and Hugh who seconded it.
That's correct, yes.
Okay, John,
John Bell, aye.
Hugh,
Hugh Morton, aye.
Mark,
Mark Schmidt, aye.
Phil,
Bill Weinberg, aye.
Tim,
Tim Gillespie, aye.
Garrett,
Garrett Stuck, aye.
and Betty Slade. Aye, that's unanimous. Now we have the list of bills. Tim. Okay, the list of bills that have been paid. The town meeting handouts, $152.50, a payment to Tim Gillespie for work on the town hall annex rear recreation project, $222.91. Reimbursement to me for 4 2-gallon sprayers for the D2 for gravestone restoration, $155.96. Todd Batista for reimbursement for a backpack sprayer for water and D2. That's again the gravestone restoration project. For the WYAA for RAD Sports for dugouts and fencing, so far $52,240. For Atlas Preservation for historic mortar for gravestone restoration, $218.77. We bought 7 community preservation committee signs. I don't know if you've seen them. They're very nice. For 7 of them, it was $210. They were designed by Ray Shaw. Bono, which was nice. So if you have a project, you're a liaison, be sure that the project managers put up those signs. They're available from Maria in the small meeting room on the 2nd floor. East Bay Media for the public hearing notice, $61.50. Somebody is really, sound is coming, and I don't know who it is. And then again, the gravestone solution, we are renting a trailer rather than buying one for $8,000. We're renting them at 7 months for 7 months at $125 per month, and that is $825. And we're doing that trailer rental because we've been loading Todd, Batista, and Troy's trucks and then unloading them and then carrying the gravel in other ways. It's been very inefficient and time consuming, and time is valuable. So we decided to do it this way. So those are the bills that we've paid. Are there any
Betty,
questions about any of them? Mhm.
Betty, I just wanted to say, I know you're doing a wonderful job with these gravestones. What is the kind of status of the project overall? How far along are you? How much more is there to spend on it? Those types of things.
We haven't spent a lot of money on it. We got 55,000. I think what was the figure? There's 38,000 left, I believe. We've cleaned 5,000 stones and we have fixed 1,000 stones. And there are maybe 7,000 more stones to clean at least. And hundreds and hundreds of stones to restore. I mean, it's remarkable what these guys are doing. I don't know if you, and it's all pro bono, as you know, volunteer. You might, there's a Facebook, we have a Facebook account, a Westport gravestone cleaning and restoration. A lot of the work is done using private funds. We have a private fund account at the Historical Society. They handle it for us, and we get donations and put the money into that fund. And we use that for the smaller cemeteries that don't have perpetual care.
No, you're doing a terrific job. I didn't.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. We, unfortunately, these things in the beginning, you have a lot of volunteers. I just am not capable now of the physical side of it as much. So we're bringing in some people. One quite remarkable volunteer is the sister of John Bell, Sherry Boyle, who has just come in and has been remarkable. And she's been helping me on a lot of other projects too. But we're always looking.
She's got a lot of energy, Betty. Put it to good use.
Pardon me, John?
She's got a lot of energy.
She does have a lot of energy. Yeah, and she's so calm. It's very nice.
We're talking about the same person?
Well, it's a sister. Okay, so do any other questions? So do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Tim Gillespie.
Okay,
Hugh Morton, second.
okay. All right, John,
John Bell, aye.
Hugh,
Hugh Morton, aye.
Mark,
Mark Schmidt, aye.
Bill,
Phil Weinberg, aye.
Tim,
Tim Gillespie, aye.
Garrett,
Garrett Stuck, aye.
and Betty. Yes, I approve, and that is unanimous. And then we have, okay. All right, so I have correspondence. I talked about some of it already. The Snell Creek, the Grange, and the Affordable Housing Trust. But I also wanted to talk to you. It's not in correspondence, it's topics not reasonably anticipated 48 hours in advance. As many of you know, there is a cemetery website. And that cemetery website has two aspects of it. One is for the public and one is the administrative side. And we had a volunteer build that website many years ago. And through the years, he's been the administrator of it. About 3 years ago, we transferred it from his server, because he has a big company, to a server called Razorfish. And we are having extraordinary problems with it. And for an example, we can't input photos. All of the GIS stuff is gone. And for the last 4 or 5 weeks, the cemetery administrative side is gone. So it has the man who all these years, Gary Harstad, wrote me an email today and said, I've had it. I'm not going to do this anymore. I've told the town what it needs to do, and the town just has to do it. So Jim Hartnett's been helping me trying to figure out what to do. And he put me in touch with the IT guy at the school, Tony, what's his name? Tony is his first name. I can't think of his second name anyway.
Usually it's John. John's usually at the school. John, I can't think of
No,
his
not
last
John. This
John,
is
okay.
Tony.
All right, never
This is
mind.
Tony. I know John is Resendez is a different one. So I spoke with Tony today, and he said that he would be glad to help. He said he wouldn't charge anything. It's his duty to do this and so forth. But once we got the email from Gary Harstead, it's changed everything. And so we really need to rebuild that website. We need to update it. We need to download all the data and set up a whole new website. That will have the security and all of those things. And I don't think that I don't think that Tony would be able to do that. So there's a question of what do I do? And this cemetery website is used by the Veterans Department. And so when it goes down, I get a lot of emails. I mean, I'd heard from Carol Freitas, you know, she enters, she finds where the graves are, all of this. It's used by the cemetery department. I don't know what they do without it. And it's also used by people, you know, in town and all over the world. And so I was thinking that because we do have the cemetery project, and we've had several small cemetery projects, and then the big one, that this is kind of a historical preservation kind of thing, because we are preserving the information, we're entering the information, kind of like we do with the survey. And I was thinking that maybe we could use some administrative funds to get this started. And because the town doesn't have the money. And also maybe I could get some private funds. So that's what I'm presenting to you tonight for your ideas. But I think we really have to get this straightened out. I've been fighting this for years. And I mean, it's got to the point where I'm going to have to give up unless
I think that's a very good idea. The historical preservation piece, I think, fits quite precisely. And I do agree that it's an asset that people will need, needs to be done. So I'm all in favor.
Okay.
Yeah, can we use the administrative funds? I mean, let's
Yes,
dig right in.
we can use administrative funds, at least to get started, and then I'll try to get some private funds, try to raise some private funds. I don't know how much it's going to cost because this has all happened today. This crisis has kind of come to a head today.
We could
So-
we could put in a project for this coming year too, to sort of augment.
We could if we needed to. But I would like to start out by at least identifying the project using administrative funds.
I move
John
that we
Bell?
do that.
I'll
John,
second that.
Yeah, just for, it's been down for a while, right, Betty? Because I use it to try to find old retired police officers so I can put police markers at their graves. And it's been down for a while. I haven't been able to search it for a while.
did you say you mean the administrative side of it or what?
Just the public side, the side that I use to
No,
find.
it's up, it's been up.
It
It
wasn't
goes
up a
up
few
and
weeks
down.
ago. Yeah, does it? Okay.
It goes up and down, and then now it's in the hands of Nicole, as if she doesn't have enough to deal with the server. We have to rebuild it, and we have to put it on a new server. The town, it seems like the town servers cannot handle it at all. So I will have the service of Tony, and I'm sure, though Gary was a little disgusted today, he's been disgusted in the past, but never this disgusted. But I think he will help us get to the next step. But then I need to build a good website, a modern website, or have it built. So that's going to cost money. So anyway, I think the vote is here on using town funds. And I'll let you know how much it's going to be. I don't know, but at least to get it started. Tony, I think Tim moved and Hugh seconded.
That's
Um,
correct.
Should we, any more discussion? All right, so a vote. John,
John Bell, aye.
Hugh,
Hugh Morton, aye.
Mark,
Mark Schmidt, aye.
Bill,
Phil Weinberg, aye.
Tim,
Tim Gillespie, aye.
Garrett,
Garrett Stock, aye.
Betty Slade, aye. That is unanimous.
So
Okay,
Betty, you haven't lost data, have you, in this whole, of
No,
transferring from server to server?
we periodically download all the data.
Yeah.
We periodically download it. We can do that. I have it, and
I mean,
Gary,
back it up.
and I'm going to get Tony. That's the first thing to get him to do, is download everything. And then we have to figure out to build a website that can use that data, or that data could be fit in. The thing is that when Gary was doing it, it's been 15 years that he's been doing this, and he put in a lot of bells and whistles. I don't know if you've noticed it, but there are drop-down menus. There's all kinds of stuff. We don't need that. And so we just have a straightforward website where people can download the data. But I still want veterans. We want to keep records of all the veterans and of the various wars and all the kinds of things that we do on the side. You may not even know it if you look at it, but if you go through it, you'll find there's a lot of that information, and then a lot of background information. And then I put a lot of photos of the people who helped us so much, the Potters and Wes Norman and all those people who made such a difference. I think it's important that people be recognized. Okay, so is there a motion to adjourn? Tim,
All right.
Bell second.
Sorry, I muted myself.
so John is a motion to adjourn, Tim second, and let's go through it one more time. The next meeting's November 9th. John,
Bell, aye.
Hugh,
With apologies, Hugh Morton.
Mark, that's okay.
Mark Schmidt, aye. Thank you, Betty.
Phil Weinberg, aye.
Tim,
Tim Gillespie, aye.
Garrett,
Garrett Stock, aye.
Lucy,
Good job, everyone.
thank you very much. Betty Slade, unanimous. See you on November 9th, if not before.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you, Maria.